Shiva Virtual Academy. Okay, for the first time ever, in next week's class, we will have students joining in from other countries for the first time ever. So I think this is a big possibility and trying to be very optimistic. And see, if you cannot come to Shiva, Shiva can come to your house. So I'm very happy about it. And today's class will be led by Ryan Vogel and Sean Scott. So these two kids are our youth camp counselors. So they'll be conducting an orientation session and they'll be giving you a demonstration of all animation work, what we will be learning in the next 5 classes in online coding. Okay, over to Ryan and Sean now. Go ahead. Come on,
Okay.
take it from here.
Hi, most of you know me as Sean Scott, and we're gonna be showing you Scratch and animation through Scratch and Blender. Over to my sorry. So Ryan is going to be showing you guys how to what animations he's done in Scratch and Blender. So,
and I'm going to show you how easy it is to create animations and how some animations may look hard, but they're actually really easy to do in Scratch. So let's get started. Let me share my screen.
Ryan, let me say a quick hello to the new people who joined in the call.
Oh, good.
Kemen, can you hear us, Kemen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So it's nice to see you, Kemen, after a month-long break. And I see Lisa, but where is Zamora? I don't see her in the...
She's here. She's fixing her hair.
Oh, okay.
Right next to me, yeah.
Okay, no worries. And how about Bhushan? Bhushan, can you hear us, Bhushan?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Go ahead, Ryan.
Okay, so everybody on here, now remember, this is an interactive, so that means that if I ask a question, it's not a rhetorical question, which means you can interact and you can ask questions and everything like that. So most of you guys know what Scratch is, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you know that you can make games, animations, and basically anything on Scratch. So I've been doing Scratch for 6 years. I started when Scratch was, they didn't even have the Scratch website. They had actually where you would download Scratch onto your computer and then you would make stuff. So I have tons of projects. Look at this. All projects, 740. Now most of them is how some of your projects will end up. When you create a project, you may have a really good idea for it. Like, let's see. Let's click on this one. I don't know what this one was for, but as you can see, it doesn't have very much stuff in it. That's because I probably had a good idea where I would make something work or do something like that, but after I explored it more, I saw that, oh, that didn't work, which is fine. So if you ever start a project and you don't feel like working on it anymore, that's completely fine. Just remember not to quit, because you never want to quit. So I'll show off some of the projects that I've made. So here's one that I made for another coding class I was teaching at the library, and it's called Area 51. And it kind of looks crazy, and it looks like you would have had to animate all those different sprites. But really, I'll explain the code. So this just sets it to, this is called our initial setup, where it sets the rotation style of the sprite to left and right, but then it wants it to point in the direction -90, and then it sets it to the size 10, which makes it small. Now size and direction style, rotation style is going to be very important in animating, because you don't want, because since Scratch is mostly 2D, which means two-dimensional, it means that it can only go back and forth like that. So it can't go forwards and back. But if you want to create the illusion that it's going forwards and back, then you can use the size So watch this. So if I, so it kind of looks like it's getting bigger, but it's actually just changing the size. So if we had it in a better aspect where it would look like it's actually coming towards you, then it would look like it's actually coming towards you, and it's not just a 2D animation getting bigger. So the other part of the program is when I run it, there's all these different copies of it running around. And that may seem hard to animate because you would have to animate each one. But as probably most of you can see, there is a clone tool. So who knows what a clone is in Scratch? Someone either raise your hand or say it out loud.
A clone is like a duplicate of something.
Yes. Okay, so the clone is a duplicate, which means it copies itself. So what this is called, so this is called a definition right here, when I start this clone. So basically that is defining when this command, when this block is run, it does this. So when it starts its clone, glide 1 second to a random position, and then it will delete the clone. So that way I only have to have this script for this entire program, which makes it really easy to create animations that have to have a lot of duplicates. For example, let's see. So I made a game, and let's see if I can find it. And it required lasers to be shoot. And I didn't want to animate every single one of those lasers. So what I did is, here we go, is I used clones. So let's play. Gotta remember how to play my game. Let's see. So, who can identify what might be a clone? Do you think the rocket's a clone?
Yeah,
Who
the
can
rocket
guess?
will be cloned every time you shoot.
Well, not every time I shoot. Every time the other spaceship shoots. Let's see. Let me find. I haven't. See, and then also you got to make your code clean. Who knows what making code clean means?
That means like do not make it. Don't be. How can I say this? Like, don't be like. I don't know how to explain it.
It means basically don't be messy with it. Make it clear and concise so that when you are coding, it's easy to read. Because once you have a program like this, let me show you why you need to learn how to have clean code. So, doesn't the Scratch project right there, doesn't this look pretty clean? The Scratch, the blocks. It's pretty clean because you can read it. But once you get into a program like higher coding languages like Python, and JavaScript, and stuff like that, you'll get code that looks like this. Give it a second. Because even though you may think that animation is just moving stuff around, because then you'll get code like this. See all this? This can be confusing if you don't know what it is, or even this. So that's why we always have to write notes. Now you can't really add notes a lot in, oh wait, no, yeah, you can add the comma. So you could say, this controls the moving part of the ship. So, and you could leave that there, so if someone were to remix your project and be like, oh, what does this part do? Then you could see what it does. So that's one project I have. And now to show you before we get on to the Blender stuff, which is really cool. So once you learn the Scratch stuff and you feel and you get to know how all that stuff works, then you can move on to other programs like Blender and After Effects and stuff like that, which I'll show you. But anyways, let's make our own animation. So how many of you have seen the new Sonic movie? Raise your hands. Has anyone seen the new Sonic movie?
No, definitely haven't.
Good, because I haven't seen it either. So, anyways, well, you all know who Sonic is, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, we're going to make a little Sonic animation, which is going to have him run from here, then here, then here, then here. Now, see how it's perspective where the grass, this grass right here, is a lot closer than the field back there? So what we're going to do is we're going to make it get bigger as it comes closer. So you would want to do this in steps, because in animation you can't just have it all be one step. You got to do it in steps. For example, so we have our running animation. Oh, I need to make this smaller. So we have our running animation, right? So we're going to want it to run here, then here, then here, then here. Now we want it to get bigger. So first we want to set up our initial, which means when the program starts, where do we want everything so that it will look, so that it won't mess up. So that's where we're going to start. So when we start like this, and then we're going to want it to run over here. So thankfully in Scratch, when you move a sprite, you don't even have to type in the coordinates of where the sprite is. It automatically updates it in the motion blocks. So we're going to want to, and if anybody has any questions, just interrupt me, because I can't see everybody on the screen right here. So if you say something, I'll be able to answer it. So what we're going to do is when the green flag's clicked, it runs to that location. Now 1 second in animation, 1 second is, you want to make it feel like it's not too fast. So we're going to do 3 seconds. Just because it's farther away, so we want it to look like he's actually running a super far distance. And like I said before, we want our rotation style to be left-right. This is going to be important. So then we're going to want him to run from here to here, and then we're going to want him to turn 90 degrees. So watch. He's going to run, and then, oh, it needs to be negative 90. He's going to run, and then,
Couldn't you also do point and direction?
You could. Oh, yes, sorry, my bad. Thank you. So what does that, so we want negative 90 because we want it to go back the other direction. Thank you. So now, there we go. And then we'll want it to glide to, oh, no. So then we'll want him to glide to about here. And then, so then we'll do this. We'll make it 2 seconds because he's a bit closer. So now if we run it, it'll run there, and we'll have him run here. and then he'll point the other direction, like that. So see how he progressively gets faster each length that he does? So now it doesn't really look good because we're not scaling. We're not making it scale. So basically he's the same size the entire way. So now we got to get it so that let's see, how can we do this? So if you guys have an idea of how to make it grow gradually bigger, feel free to say it. So what we want is that we want him to change size by 1 and get bigger. We want him to get 4 times bigger from here to here. So what we can do is we can, now this, having 2 scripts run at the same time is what's called parallel processing or parallel running, something like that. But basically it means that you have 2 programs running at the same time that interact with each other. So what we're going to want to do is repeat 4 times. So then we're going to want to do some math because we don't want it to just go 4 and then it will run the rest of the way. We want it to gradually change it. So it's okay if you don't know, but how do you think that we would get it? So for 3 seconds, how could we evenly make it grow bigger? Feel free to shout it out, and if you don't know it,
Anybody?
okay. That's not, no, that, oh, we don't want calendar. Nope, we're not using the calendar. We're using the calculator.
So though everybody is on mute, once they speak, will it automatically unmute them?
No, it won't. So yeah, so if you are on mute, make sure to unmute yourself before you talk. If you have something to say. So it's going to change 4, so it should be 4 divided by 3, which is, yeah, so we're going to have, oh, I just closed the tab. One moment. Kind of give you a preview of coming attractions right there. Good thing with Scratch also, it saves your project. So that way if you accidentally do close it, it's saved. So we're going to, since we're going to want it to change size every 1.3 seconds. See how it got bigger?
Mm-hmm.
See, because it didn't get too much bigger, but it got big enough so that it actually looks good. Upper GX is great. So, and then we're going to want it to get 4 more times bigger. Let's do some more math. 4 divided by 2, which is simple math, but I still don't know how to do it. Duplicate. Then we're going to do 2, like that. So now, see how it's getting bigger and bigger? Let's have it, instead of 4, let's have it get 6 bigger. So we'll change it to 3 seconds. Hold on. Wait a second, that math doesn't work. See, this is the part in animation and coding where you look at something and you're like, that does not check out, because it's going to repeat 6 times every 3 seconds, change size by 1. That doesn't make sense. So let's go back to our calculator, not our calendar. I think what we need to do is 3 divided by 4.7. Oh, okay, there we go. 0.75. And then 6 2 divided by 6 is 0.333. So 0.33. Now, when it runs, it'll be getting bigger and bigger, and then he'll get even bigger. So see it? Does everyone see how this works so far? And then we're going to have him get even bigger, 6.33. Well, now we need to do 1 divided by 6.66. So now, when we do our final animation, we'll be getting closer and closer and closer and closer, like that. Isn't that cool? Does anybody have any questions? Any questions before we move on?
Okay. Let's unmute them to get their feedback. So Sean, can you?
Here, unmute. Yeah, unmute everybody.
I don't know if there's a way to do that.
So Sean, can you go ahead and make me the host back again, please? Just click on my picture and then just.
You are a radio host. I give your host back.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, your host.
But it doesn't let me to unmute everyone.
I think that's because you have to manually unmute everyone has to unmute themselves.
Where's the mute?
Okay, can you all go ahead and unmute yourself?
Okay.
So the
I'm
video
unmuted.
of
There we
today,
go. Everyone's good.
from this session, the video will be shared with you. So once it's shared, you have to pause at this point and you'll be able to recreate it. How many of you have a Scratch account? Give me a thumbs up if you have a Scratch account. Okay, good. Do you
For
all?
5 years.
Okay, good. Do you all
Teacher.
still remember the password that we created?
Yes.
You do. So you can pause the video at this point and try to recreate this and send it over to us. Okay. In next class, in the beginning of the class, you can share the project. Okay. You think you can recreate the same project?
And I'll also share. So if you guys want to follow me, I'll show you. So I'll share the project right now so that you can recreate. You can either remix it and add in your own assets, or if while you're creating it, you get stuck, then you can go and look towards the project. So let me show you my profile so you know what it is. So this is my profile. It's
Loon
called
Man.
Loon Man. So you can follow me, and it's right. It'll be right here, and you'll be able to remix it. Any other questions? What did you think of that? Was that cool? Thumbs up if that was cool.
Make a lot of projects.
Perfect.
I had 2,000, but I
Thumbs up.
deleted some. Anyway,
I
okay.
followed you.
Who wants to see some? Who knows what a black hole is? Raise your hand.
Me.
Who wants to see a black hole that I made?
Okay.
So let's move this over here. So this is a program called Blender. Blender is a 3D rendering engine so that basically it makes it look like stuff is realistic. So here's a project that I'll show you the final video for. Does that not look cool or what?
That does look cool.
Looks pretty real.
Yeah, and it looks extremely real. So watch. This is just in the editor, but if I render it, you may get some lag.
But you do need a VC computer to actually make programs like this.
Not really. If you're doing some, if you play games on your computer, like if you play Fortnite or any of those games, and you have a pretty good thing, then you should be able to run Blender. The only hard part about Blender is just you gotta learn everything. See how realistic this looks?
Mhm.
It's only the black background and some of the bottom of the floor that doesn't look real. So I'll show you some of the other stuff that I made. So here's that black hole. Is that cool or what?
Super cool.
So Blender allows you to, here, I'll show you the setup for this scene right here. So in Blender, you have three, basically when you're creating an animation, like a 3D animation, you have three different steps. One is the modeling, which is where you make all of these parts and you model it. And then the second part is called texturing, which is where we go into the shading part and we get all of our textures to look good, which is everything on the bot. See how we have all the, like the metal pins there?
Mm-hmm.
That's the part, and then that's where you can have that's what this is for. So you create this in an app called Photoshop or something like that, and basically you draw out each of the parts onto the bot. So who plays Minecraft in here? Raise your hand if you play Minecraft.
Karthik and Aryan.
Good. Okay, almost everyone. So who has uploaded their own Minecraft skin? Has anyone done that? Okay, so you know when you download the skin, it looks like it's a flat image? So that's the same thing with this. This is a flat image. But the way that Minecraft and this translates it, it's kind of like, excuse me. It's kind of like you take a piece of paper and then you fold it to make it look like the object. It's kind of like an origami or something like that. So that's what these are. That's basically just all of the faces laid out flat. So we have the shading, and then after the shading, we have lighting, which is to make it look really realistic. See how we have our shadows, and then we have the light up above, like this. So this makes it so that our animations actually look real. So that way, here's another project that looks pretty real. This is a spaceship that I made. So that is, I went through the 3 steps. I created the spaceship. I animated it with something called keyframes. Who knows what keyframes are? Or take a guess at what keyframes are. Can anybody take a guess at what keyframes are? Anybody?
So every single shot in an animation.
That's pretty close. So keyframes, I don't think, yeah, this project doesn't really describe it well because there's like millions of keyframes. Let's see. Here we go. This one will be good. So, see these little dots down here? Can everyone see the dots?
Yes.
Okay, so each of those dots is a keyframe. So, do you see the little banner thing that I'm waving here? Am I waving anything? Oh, hold on, let me check. Hide video cam. Okay, there we go. So, over here, this is where we can transform. Who knows what transform means?
Change.
Change, yeah. So we would change the location of this text. So if I were to rotate it, then it would rotate like such. So what I have is I have a keyframe for this transform options. So when I create a keyframe, it basically locks in all the settings it has right there. And then if I go all the way out here and I make a keyframe, then see how it's a different location? See how there are 2 different locations? it animates it between it. So that way I don't have to go boom, then move it a little bit, boom, then move it a little bit, boom, then move it a little bit. It makes it a lot easier because I can animate it so that it moves. And then I can have it animate even more and then drop. So here's what that animation looks like.
Very cool.
Then it drops down. So that's some of the cool things that you can do in Blender. Let me get my thing back up so I can see. So, does anybody have any questions about that so far? Any questions? It can be literally about anything. So, who knows? Let's see. What else do you want to see?
So, Ryan, so working with Scratch, you think that'll help them later to design?
Oh, yeah. So in Scratch, in Blender, because Blender, it uses sort of the same things that Scratch does, because it's kind of the same principle. So basically, you work in layers in Scratch. Remember how when we were creating our Scratch program, where we would have one chunk for each thing that would go down? So it would go glide, and then glide, and then glide, and then glide. That's kind of like the keyframes in Blender. So the Blender keyframes, that's basically each one of those glide things. Those two keyframes, it would glide from there to there, like that. So, any questions? Want to see some other cool animations?
Yes.
Okay, so who knows the video game Portal?
I do.
So I created this. Is that cool or what? So how I have it is that I'll basically explain how I made this. So the first shot is it's zooming in, where the camera zooms in. It gets closer to the object. And then I added the light. So the light was, for the first keyframe of the light, it was completely off. And then the last keyframe of the light, it was completely on. So what it did in between the off and the on is it slowly made it brighter and brighter and brighter. And then I added animation keyframes that would move the object in the way that it moved. How'd you like that one? So I made those in Blender. Now, who knows what After Effects is called? Who knows what After Effects is?
Adobe After Effects?
Yes. So I made this in After Effects a while ago. This was like 2 years ago.
They make a lot of movie effects with that.
Yeah. So this is kind of a rotating Earth movement. See how the parts that the sun is on, there is no, the cities aren't illuminated. It starts to light up after the cities are illuminated. Kind of is how it is in real life, which is cool. So let's open up. Let's see. So with animation, you can have really two types of animation. You can have it where it is completely like a, ooh, do I have that? Yes, I do. Okay. So this type of animation is called like a hand-drawn or a pencil-based, where you know it's not real because it doesn't have all of the real effects. So Adobe, which makes a lot of cool products to create videos and animate. They created this called Character Animator, which is, you'll really like this. Just let it load up. So with one of the issues with animating is that you have to go and if you were to make somebody speak, then you would have to animate their mouth every single movement, which takes a long, long time. So let's select
Soccer ball.
let's do the soccer ball. So I'm going to put this down here. Oh, I gotta hide my video for it to work. I keep screen sharing. So let's, okay, so see how it sees my face up there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I talk, the ball talks.
Oh, wow.
Now I
Hand
gotta,
emoji.
wait a second. See, when I smile, it smiles, and then if I talk, it really kind of looks like I'm actually talking. So it's like, hey, I'm a soccer ball. See how, but it's not perfect. So then you would have to go in and make some little adjustments to make it look even better. But it kind of tracks my eyes. See how it's tracking my eyes?
Mhm.
So this is one of the cool things that you can do because it makes it easy to animate. Because if I were to animate this, that would take a long time. But since I have it like this, it doesn't take that long. It takes probably like 10 seconds to animate something that would have taken 5 hours to. Now, all the Adobe stuff that I'm showing you, it costs money, but Blender, after you learn from scratch for a while,
Take
Um,
money.
no, Blender is completely free.
Boom, boom, boom.
So after you learn from scratch and you get good at scratch animation, you can look up tutorials on Blender animation and work on that. So that's about all I have for that. So is there any questions about any of this? You want to see something?
How long
Anything?
does it take to animate? Like, let's say the portal thing. How long does it take to animate that?
What do you mean by animate? Do you mean like
Via
create the
Blender.
animation or to render it out?
I would say just like the whole process of making it.
So in Blender, let me open up, I'll just open up this one because it's easier. So in Blender, who knows what rendering is?
It's if you want to make it the highest quality.
When you want to make it the highest quality, but it makes it so that, because this, give it a second, this is rendered view, which is like how it would look, but that doesn't really look, wait for it to load a bit more, that doesn't really look how it would actually look. This is how it would actually look. Like that. So I guess really there are 4 steps in the animation process. You first create the model, then you add the textures, and then you add the lighting, and then you've got to render it. Now, there are 2 different types of render engines. Who thinks that they know what a render engine might be?
Ian, do you want to take a guess?
What's a render engine? I'm not sure if it's correct, but is it an animated engine or something?
That's actually really close. It's the process that the program uses to create the animation.
Is it like an engine?
It really is kind of like an engine. So there are basically two real engines in Blender. There's something called Eevee, which instead of rendering it part by part, it renders the entire animation, just like it renders the entire frame. But then there's another one called cycles, which I'll show you. So let me show you what an the Eevee render looks like. So I'm going to render the image, and you'll see you don't see anything, and then the image is just there. Eevee is faster, but then if we use cycles, and then we render it, it will render, oh, hold on, let me change my settings. Cycles is usually slower, but cycles usually is faster because cycles is slower, but it looks better. So you'll see. So the other one took 3 seconds. You'll be able to see how long this one takes. See, right now it would have been done. But if we just let it watch, it's also really cool to watch. See how long this has taken? It's already taken 31 seconds. And we would have gotten 10 frames of the other one already done. So see how this kind of looks cooler? It's kind of like a see-through element. So cycles animations usually take a really long time. Like one cycles animation I did, it took 5 days, which means I had to leave my computer up and running for 5 days. So let's just stop this. Oh, not stop share.
I have a question.
Yep.
Like, oh no, I just forgot.
Well, if you remember it, just say speak up again. So,
Okay.
and then I'll show you how easy it is to create some of this stuff. So let's say we don't like the color of the white light on the top. What color do we want our light to be? Somebody raise your hand and tell me a color.
One of you go ahead, pick a color. Timmy?
Blue.
Blue? Okay. So we can set it to a blue light. Let's get something we like.
Wow.
So we set it to the blue light, then let's render it. And then there we have. And see how that looks pretty realistic? It looks like there was an actual blue light overhead. So, and then we can look around different camera shots that we could get.
How did you do that? Dumb question.
No, it's not a dumb question at all. So this is the more complex side of Blender. There's something called an armature. So you know in your body you have bones. Your bones are what make it so that you can move. So these things right here, this is the armature or the bone structure for this machine, because each of these little panels and stuff are different elements. But if we put it on an armature, then it makes it easier to animate. So let's see if I have it. Here we go. So you may not be able to tell me, first person to guess who this is wins nothing, but they just guess who it is. So who do you think this is before I turn it into the next one?
Something from Portal 2. I know it. I have it. It's in the back of my head.
What's his name?
Like, he's the guy when you first start the campaign.
Yes. So it's Wheatley, but I've changed
Wheatley.
the
I thought it was called Wally.
no. But I changed the color of the eye. So This is in the cycles renderer. I'll just render it out because it requires less resources. It's pretty fast. So this is what cycles looks like if you have it at a low render level. You'll be able to see why I say a low render level. See how fast it's rendering? But if we zoom in, see how it's really pixelated in these parts? So it doesn't really look good for a good animation. But anyways, that's not what I was going to show you. I was going to show you the armature. So see these blocks right here? So if I move these blocks, it moves something on his face. See how if I move that up and down, it moves the arm up and down? But if I wanted to do this, that closes his eye, like that. So that just makes it a lot easier, so you don't actually have to click on the object and move it. So that answered that question. So any other questions? Feel free. Any question? There's no...
I have one question. How do you like model how do you like model the project that you just showed us? Not that one, but the other one.
The other one? Oh, so that I actually didn't model it, I just animated it.
Oh.
So I got these like cube robot things from a free 3D website, and then all I had to do was just animate them.
Just like in Scratch, right? So how they get the sprite and then they animate it.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, I downloaded the sprite, imported it into Blender or Scratch, and then I animated it. So, and you can always use Google or something like that to find a image or a picture of something you want to animate. So that's this. Do you guys want to see the Blender project for the spaceship?
Yes, please.
So let me... So this is what the spaceship looks like. Pretty cool, huh? So I modeled most of this myself. Just a lot of hard work to create each and every element. So that's how it looks. And then it doesn't really look good while it's in like rendered view, because that's the thing, you have to fix lights. You have to make it look like it's realistic lighting. So give it a second. It may crash. One more second. Okay, yeah, it's gonna crash. So, but that's basically how it works. And then you just gotta get the lighting so that it looks like it's real and it's not just fake. So, any other questions?
Is there any more to the animating?
What do you mean? Any more to the animating?
How do you like animate the rest?
You mean like the rest of the scene? Okay, let's see. Yeah, we got enough time. I'll create a Blender animation. So we gotta find something. What?
Quick question. So how about the animations that you did on Instagram, like grabbing the Instagram button you have shown us?
Ooh, yes. Let me show you that.
Can you show us?
Forgot about that.
What software do you use for that, Ryan?
I used After Effects. So where is it? Let me find where I saved it. Oh, I think it's in here.
So today you get to see all these cool demonstration, and starting from next class, you will have your own window of Scratch programming opened, and you have to follow the instruction and do it along, okay? Is that clear?
Now remember, when you won't be my level like right away after you do like a week of Scratch. You'll have to slowly build into it. You'll have to get better at it, because I didn't get this in like 2 days. This took me like 3 or 4 years to get it down. So I'll show you how I created this program. So I'll pull up, after this is finished loading it, I'll pull up the reference image. Now, like I said, After Effects isn't free, but there are other programs like After Effects that have the same utilities that you can use. So give it a second. So
Looks more like a video editor.
move this up here. This was a long time ago. So I'll just play it from here. Well, let me just play the actual video.
We can't hear audio, by the way.
There's no audio.
Oh, okay.
So the animation for me grabbing it is kind of bad. So I'll show a better one that I did better.
That was cool though.
Yeah, it was cool. I don't know if you could see, but watch. Right when I'm grabbing it, you'll be able to see right here. See this? What's this? Who thinks
Mask.
that not really. Who thinks that they might know what it is?
Oh, what?
Like kind of like a referral point that you have?
Exactly, a tracker. So I put that on my hands so that I could track, even though I didn't do it very well, I could track the camera coming back.
Did you see my mom's?
So I'll show you one that I did a really good track on.
It's just such an uplift.
Is it a news report?
Which one is it? I think it's, which one is modified? So here's what the final one looks like.
Okay.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Is that cool?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's open it. Oh, I opened the wrong one. Now we gotta wait an eternity. But basically, someone take a guess on how I did that. Anyone? Doesn't matter if it's right or wrong, just take a guess.
Tracking.
Tracking, yes.
So the market was up.
But how do you think I tracked it?
Oh, I think I know. Maybe you might have found the video. Maybe you might have found the video on YouTube, and then you import it to you import it, and then you put the tracker on his hand, and then put the camera on, and then put the camera.
Oh, hold on. Yes, that's pretty close.
The trials that they've been running.
Okay.
Hey, look here at this.
Very promising as a treatment. So people that were in the hospital.
Oh, and I'll also show you the film that me and my friend made after I get the actual video.
Within 3 days, they basically
So there are things called plugins. Who knows what a plugin is? Who might know what that is? Guess what that could be?
At least if you've got something to treat it, you know.
Does anybody know?
Something you add to the software.
Yes.
Like a unofficial. It can be official, but an unofficial plugin.
Yeah. So I added a plugin called Saber, which allows you to create a bunch of different cool lightsabers. So after the program loads up, which it takes forever.
So we are seeing all this demonstration today. So for you to get an idea of where Scratch programming can take you. Ryan started with Scratch and he even released his own CD, like a tutorial CD, and he was selling it a couple of years ago, right, Ryan?
Yep. And I still have it for sale on my website.
So he is a young entrepreneur. So he has his own business card, his own accounts. So everything, it started from Scratch programming. You start with that and you can do really cool animations like what you see today. That's why we have this 5 weeks course for you all to get really strong in Scratch. Okay.
A website? How did you get a website?
I built it and bought it. Now this one was pretty cool. Let's see. I don't think it worked perfectly, but it's still a cool animation. So, and what you can learn from animation is, if you want to do cool video effects, is you can animate something and then overlay it and put it in real life. Like you'll see this. Once it loads up, I animated the shield and then I put it on my hands. I don't think I finished this one. Give it a second.
After effect.
While it's loading up, does anyone else have any other questions? So give it a second. So see how it, let's play it so that it will render out. So this is another type of rendering. See the little green bar that's loading?
Yeah.
It's called a buffer. So basically it creates a buffer which basically it renders it out. You know how in Blender we were rendering it out and the thing would pop up and it would like create the animation? That's kind of what it's doing, but it's doing it in the background. So that way, when I play it, what do I got to change our work area? So that way when we play it, it works. Isn't that cool? They want to see it?
Yeah.
Okay. And for the last one, I'll show you a video that me and my friend made.
Ian, can you see it, Ian? Give me a thumbs up if you can see. Okay.
Okay, let's see if I can find it. So I have all of my video projects organized in a folder. And if you do that, then you are definitely going to want to do that because it makes it a lot easier to find stuff. Because even I have it organized and I can't even find where it is. Where is it? Oh.
I like the "you died" scene.
Yeah. So hopefully it will load up. So I'll show you the VFX breakdown. Who knows what a VFX breakdown is? Anybody? Who knows what VFX means? Video effects, exactly. So a VFX breakdown is a video effects breakdown. So basically it's where I show each of the layers that go into creating the project. So what I had to do actually is I couldn't have a tracker track the lightsaber. So I had to manually track it. So basically every frame I would have to move it to its new location. You'll see that here. So see the lightsaber? If I remove this, see the lightsaber's gone. So then if I play it, he's just swinging a sword, but if I turn it back on, it's the actual lightsaber. So, and I had to animate out each of those points, and you'll be able to see the tracker points. You should be able to.
Yeah, it would be July 6th to July 6th.
And then I have the bullets
Right after you got back to your Boy Scouts.
that come in.
Do that, 'cause you keep
So, see how one bullet comes in, and then I animated it so that it hit out the other way. And then the next bullet would come in like such. And like in Blender,
July 6th.
somebody guess what these are? They're the same shape as they were in Blender. Somebody guess.
Keyframes?
Keyframes, exactly. So, they're keyframes for the bullet. Now, do you want to see the keyframes for the sword?
Well, he wasn't going to be able to go to that because y'all weren't coming back.
Look at that. I had to manually animate each one of those keyframes. Isn't that cool?
Yes.
Thumbs up if you thought that was cool.
Yes.
Cool.
But I mean,
That's all that I have. Thank you very much.
if I have to be off.
Give him a big round of applause, please. You need to unmute yourself so he can hear all your appreciation. Come on. Yes.
So you don't have promotion for 2 weeks?
Great job, Ryan.
Thank you.
Really cool. Wow. So which is your most difficult Scratch project that you created?
The important one is not, and so.
One of the most difficult ones is that back, I think 3 years ago, I created a Scratch project for a project that I had to do for school, and it would basically be a reaction timer. So it would start a timer, it would play a beep in the headset, and they had to press the space as soon as they heard the beep. So I had to have it so that it would organize all of the data into 2 rows so that I could go through it later and Yeah,
So that was your most difficult one.
yeah, because that was really hard to
Mhm.
analyze all the data.
Okay. So maybe one of y'all, you can log in your Scratch account and share one of your project with Ryan, and he can give you some ideas how to enhance it. Karthik, you think you can do it?
Yes.
This is
Okay.
how you can share projects with me.
Have you seen
Yes.
this?
So open a new window
Obama finally
and then log in
endorsed
your
Joe
Scratch
Biden.
account and share your screen, please.
So this bee goes, I endorse you, Joe. He goes, thank you, Denzel.
So if you want to share a project with me, you can just go to my profile, and then down here, you can say, hi, Ryan, please go check out my project. And then you'll type in the project name, and then I'll click on your profile, and I'll see what your project name is, and then on your project, I'll comment and say what's good about it, what you could improve, like that.
Oh, I can't share my screen since Brian is sharing.
Okay. So maybe have you shown everything, Ryan?
Yeah,
So,
that's it. You can
okay.
share your screens now.
Thank you. You can click on stop screen sharing so Karthik can do it.
Okay.
Okay, so now we are all viewing Karthik's screen. So this is a project that was done by Karthik. So can you explain to us, Karthik?
It's a RPG, and I remixed some of it, and then I didn't remix some of it. So it's a Mario RPG here.
Have you ordered something on Amazon?
Nice.
Through your dad's account?
You can talk.
Oh, wow. Nice job. This is cool.
All right, and you can jump
Okay.
here. Go through. You can open doors.
You know, Jeff Bezos has got
Go
this,
inside.
which is a lazy right eye. So it's like this.
Oh, he does?
This is cool.
Yeah, well, look, look at
Oh,
the
he's got his drop lids.
Right. So he's got, one eye that's wide open, this other one is kind of, and with a bald head. The two of those, and then the richest man in the world, he makes a really good evil villain. Because he's like, ooh, he's looking at me like
That's really cool.
or something.
Okay, it's like a work in progress.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Keep working on that.
All right. I think that's it.
Can I share my screen?
Yep.
Yes. So make sure you open a new window and then do Scratch. Okay, don't close off the Zoom screen.
You see my screen
Not yet.
Still
right now?
Yep, now we can.
Okay. So a while back, I love doing series, so hope you guys like this.
Because I think it's about rain.
It's going to rain in about 2 hours.
Okay. So
Well, there's
this.
the rainstorm
Oh,
is
here
like
it is.
moving across Tallahassee right now. It's working its way this way.
Oh wait, hold on. No,
So we should have
not it. Not that one.
Those of you guys.
I apologize. My computer is slow today.
All good.
No, it's not in Tallahassee.
Okay.
Well, mid-Florida, it's on its way.
I don't think you know where Tallahassee is.
Okay.
It's not even over Tallahassee.
Okay, here it is. This is the one.
That's why I have to double check, because I'm like, sometimes you try to ameliorate things.
So this is what we'll be doing from upcoming sessions. All the projects that you do, you are going to share with us. And it's kind of like a digital show and tell, okay?
That's cool.
No, I just want you to be active.
Why is this taking so long?
Well, then why do you double down with me? Sometimes I think you're doing this, and it's
Okay.
make
Okay.
a mistake. I didn't examine the.
Wait, hold on. I have to restart it. Okay, so here it is. Hold on, watch this. Okay, that's it, basically. No. Yeah, that's basically it.
That's good.
Oh, thanks. I'm just still working on it.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's really good.
Oh yeah, and I found I did my invention. I was just playing around with the codes when I came across the speech thing.
Okay, perfect. This is nice.
Coach K,
Yes, Karthik.
can I share one more project?
Sure.
Okay, so the last one.
All right. Let's see. I tried making Minecraft in 3D.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it'll work. Yeah, it's a work in progress.
Okay.
It's not like too good, but
That's kind of cool. You're kind of using the same principles that I was saying, but what you're going to have to do to fix that is you're going to have to get the distance between. So walk all the way back. So you're going to have to get the distance between those two, and you're going to have to make it relative to the size. So if you get closer, they're going to have to spread apart more. That's how you would solve that issue.
all right. Okay. And you can break the tree, sort of ish. Wait, I forgot how to break the tree. Or maybe I didn't add the tree breaking. I don't know. I forgot. All right, but that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
So that's nice. So anybody else? You have any projects to share with us? Do you? Before we wrap up today's class, anybody else? Yes or no? I think Ian is nodding the head, but he's on mute. Ian, can you unmute yourself and speak, please? Do you have anything?
No, I don't have anything to share.
Okay, yeah, you can keep working on it. And then if you have anything, you can share in next class. So thank you, Ryan. Aryan, do you have anything to share with us? Any projects to share with us?
No, I'll share next class.
Okay, perfect. So next class onwards, we will have two instructors, George and Miss Adina. So they have a lesson plan for 5 weeks. So what they'll be doing is they'll be sharing their screen and they will tell you, okay, do this, drag a sprite, add this code. So I want you all to have another screen, and at the same time, you will be working on the Scratch project. Is that clear? Okay, so for the first class, we will have all of you in the same classroom. So we will see how quickly you finish the project, how efficiently you finish the project, and then we will break you all into two groups with level 1 and level 2. Is that clear?